What's up, friends? We are joined again today, Wednesday, 11:30. It's that time of the week. We are playing Red vs. Blue, the ThreatGEN cybersecurity simulation platform designed to allow you to refine your skills, test different frameworks, basically refine practices, test against APTs. You can do a million different things in this platform. And today, we are going to be operating as the blue team, implementing the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. My name is Dr. Gerald Auger, and I love me some NIST. So in addition to playing through the Red versus Blue simulator as the blue team operator using that NIST Cybersecurity Framework, I will be explaining along the way what NIST Cybersecurity Framework is, how you can implement it in your own organization, why it has value, some of the shortcomings of it, and we're going to be doing it all live with you. I'll be joined by Clint Bodungen as we step into the simulator, so let's get into it. Hey there, Clint. How are you doing, my friend? I hope you're well.
Oh, your audio is now digitized. Does everyone else hear that? Yeah, you sound like IG-88.
I don't know what to make of that.
Okay, now you're better. Now you're better. I don't know what happened. But it was kind of cool.
No
You sounded like IG-88. It was awesome.
Well, I do like to impress. I do like to, stand out in the crowd. And because I am affiliated with Simply Cyber in some capacities, it wouldn't be normal if I didn't have audio issues, Clint. So we are going to hop in the simulator. I did want to introduce Clint. Clint, do you have any experience with NIST?
Yeah, too much.
Using the platform?
Yeah, a lot of experience doing NIST 853, especially in control systems, NIST 882. In fact, I heavily referenced NIST 882 in my book because it was about industrial control system cybersecurity. So, and then, of course, NIST Cybersecurity Framework, which builds off of 853, and then NIST, all the 57, was it 57, 58, 59 for all of, no, sorry, 30, it's been a while, all the 30 series, and this 800, 35, 37, and 39, it was the cornerstone of all my risk management days, my risk assessment and risk analysis days. So just a little bit of experience.
Nice. So you're not just a pretty ICS pen testing face. You've got some of that GRC skill set in your background. I like it, Clint.
Man, because it's all about risk. Everything about cybersecurity is all about risk. If you're not equating cybersecurity risk, you're doing it wrong. Wait, hold on, I gotta say this. You're doing it wrong.
Oh man, now you're flexing on your how good your audio is. I'm jealous, Clint. All right, well, let's hop into the simulator. This right here is the ThreatGEN Red versus Blue. We're playing on version 1.10. I see about 30 people here in chat coming to us, so please throw your comments in chat, engage. We can't bring the chat into stream because of the playing board game size, but just know we see the chat and we will bring it in as appropriate. So let's go ahead and hit play. We will be single player. We will be the blue team. I'm feeling pipeline company today, Clint. Let's go ahead and
you're feeling the pipes. Go for it.
Yes. Now, NIST Cybersecurity Framework, a holistic framework that's voluntarily based, defined by NIST, which is a federal, federal agency, and it basically is broken into 5 different categories. And I'm going to show you really quickly here if I can bring it up really quick. You can see there's 5 categories in the framework: identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. And within those 5 areas, there are controls, or they're not really controls. They're actually mapped as outcomes within the space. So we're going to stick to that. I'm going to pull up my skill tree because I'm still got training wheels and I don't use the bottom left quick jumps. But first and foremost, as far as, okay, so I've implemented NIST Cybersecurity Framework at organizations, okay? I will tell you, the very first things you'll do, whether it's right or wrong, is you'll look at identify and protect These two right here, the blue and the purple, are associated with kind of GRC functions and preventative measures. You want to know what's in your environment and what kind of walls you can build around it, visibility you can get. So when bad things happen, you're limiting the impact of those damages. This is our network we'll be defending against. So I'm going to tell you right off the rip, the first thing I want to do is put a gateway firewall in. That is important. I'm going to say that our identify controls are kind of pretty good right now since we have full network visibility. You typically don't get this level of visibility from a network diagram when you start a new job. You ask for the network diagram. It might look like this, but it'll have like a timestamp that says 2017 on it, and it's definitely not up to date.
Don't you also want to add your policies and procedures to your queue, since that's the whole purpose of or is there a section in NIST? I don't know all like 1,100 controls or requirements anymore. Is there a specific requirement somewhere that says make sure your policies and procedures are up to date? Right.
So Clint's 100% right. I am going to go ahead and select policies and procedures right now. Hold on. Did it not take my... Is firewall not... Firewall doesn't cost people, huh? That's new.
Yeah, no. I'll explain later why we did that. But long story short is because the firewall is pretty much installed anytime you walk into an organization on the perimeter. But I'll explain later why we did that.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So I'm going to do asset inventory also. I've got 19 seconds left, and I'll explain why here. So in the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, the asset inventory is quintessential in the first step of identify. It is how you know what is in your environment. You can't apply controls, both protection and detection, if you don't know that there's tech there. And that's why shadow IT is such a problem. So asset inventory is absolutely a requirement. Now, to Clint's point about the policies and procedures, if you look at NIST cybersecurity controls, the 853, which is basically the control dictionary, every single control family has a -1, right? So they're all numbered like AC-1, -2, -3. The -1 control for every single control family is policy and procedure. If they invent a new control family, like let's just say Alex Goodwin was all of a sudden a control family, Alex Goodwin -1 would be policies and procedures for Alex Goodwin.
But don't click close yet. There's a special notification there I noticed.
All right, perimeter firewall installed. Good thing. Proper attire required. First step to achieving NIST standards compliance is to be well dressed. Great job, Jerry. All right, the devs having a good time. Apparently, wearing a button-down shirt. Yesterday, I shared with some of you on Discord that I had a blazer on while I was filming some executive content. Apparently, I've got the CISO look. Very nice. You gotta love working for a company where the devs take time.
The flavor quote is the flavor text there is probably very appropriate as well.
Every girl's crazy about a sharp dressed man. Very nice. Thank you very much. So, in the simulator, you can see that our 3 analysts who work for me, right? I'm a CISO and I have 3 analysts working in my department. I've been given a $50,000 budget. The analysts are executing the work. Doing asset inventory takes time. You have to engage the business. You have to engage IT. You have to, you could use vulnerability scanning, but you have to be careful with that because you could knock something over. You need to understand if there's shadow IT, which no one's going to tell you that they're doing shadow IT. So asset inventory takes time. Same with policies and procedures. I've been working on a policy myself for a little bit of time. It takes time to draft it, make sure it's comprehensive. Most importantly, make sure it works for your business, and then get feedback and approval. And I'll just say this about policies and procedures, since most people think it's boring. You can buy policy in a box, right? You can go online right now and look for $1,500 and buy a NIST compliant policy package of templated stuff. That will get you a check mark for an audit, but it will not help your organization actually be secure. You need to develop policy that works for your organization. I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn. We're executing the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. So I'm telling you right now.
Just don't execute the CISO.
Execute the CISO. In a real world, you really do focus on identify and protect first. A little bit of detect with EDR on your endpoints, but for the most part, it's identify and protect. And honestly, it's partially because it's easier to do those pieces and get them in place and communicate to the business what you're doing and why you're doing it. You can do all of the 5 layers functional areas in parallel, as we're going to be doing in a little bit, but you really do identify and protect first, and then slowly the detect, and then the respond and the recover are the categories that do take the longest. The process of developing policy at least as important as the result. Yeah, I mean, it really is. Like, you should be developing legit policy that an organization can follow and aligns to the organizational needs. And I'll give you a great example. You can't say in a policy that you will classify all information within the organization, based on like restricted, confidential, internal use only, and public, right? Those are 4 information classifications. And a lot of times in our information security field, we'll talk about classifying information. But if you put that in policy, it is very difficult to do that practically in the organization. And once the organization stops not doing that part of the policy, you basically have, what's it called? Like kneecapped the entire policy, right? If you can't follow part of it, why follow any of it? And that's what ends up happening. So you need policy to be legit, because really at the end of the day, Alex, what's going to happen is someone's going to violate policy, and you need to go to it and say, listen, you're breaking policy. You need to not do that or be held accountable. And if leadership hasn't bought into it, if it isn't something that works for the business, they're not going to support you. And then you're basically a toothless CISO.
You could say that the process contributes to the result, because if your process sucks, your result's going to suck.
Exactly. Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, in terms of creating a poor policy, then the results are going to suck.
All right. I see Nick Barker from the left coast. Good to see you, Nick. Jarrett Matthews, good to see you. Glad you're here. All right. Asset inventory is completed, so we know what's going on, and policies and procedures are documented, so we have baselines for our organization. Now, someone asks here, Kathy99, David66, these are remote users. Now, Clint, are they on our network, or are they just remote users that we can see?
They're on your network.
Okay.
They're remoted in. So without a VPN, they're using something like remote access server or remote, what is it? In the PC Anywhere, VNC,
oh, yeah. Team Viewer, VNC,
remote desktop from the internet.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Okay, so going back, we've got our 3 analysts ready to go, looking back at the framework, and I can pull up some greater detail in a little bit if you guys want. We're still looking at identify and protect. I feel network segmentation is going to be a huge protection control. When you're choosing what controls to select, and Brandon Poole really crystallized this 2 weeks ago on stream, or last week on stream, you really want to go for high value, high impact controls first, right? So network segmentation, for example, that is really, really high impact because it protects the entire network instead of one endpoint, right? Or one segment of the network, right? So I really like network segmentation as part of that protection mechanism. That does fall under the secure communications control family typically. So I'm going to do that. It is $10,000, which is very expensive. But this is one of those instances where you pay for what you get. All right. As far as identify goes, I also want to just kind of skim through here and see if there's any other kind of identification related ones. Vulnerability assessment, that would help us identify our vulnerabilities. That's a pretty good one. Install the SIM. That would help us identify issues. That's more around the detection mechanism. Let's see. We will get into detection in a minute. Install video surveillance. That is a good protection. Oops. All right, I lost my turn. That's okay. All right, so we've got our one person still working. Let's go ahead and choose. I'm going to choose harden RDP, actually, because as I think about it, harden RDP is a protection mechanism, and so the NIST Cybersecurity Framework does say a little bit about this, but not really extensively. The NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or really any framework, when you are choosing what controls to implement, you need to be selecting them on a risk-based model, right? So network segmentation, earlier I chose that one. Why? High value, and it has high impact, right? And the likelihood of compromise goes down, and the blast radius of the impact goes down if the network is segmented in the event that a threat actor attacks us.
I think it's important to note that the NIST Cybersecurity Framework is a maturity model that references NIST 853, which is actually the standards and requirements.
Exactly. Yes. The NIST Cybersecurity, this is important to note, the NIST Cybersecurity Framework does not have, like I said, it has outcomes that you should be striving to achieve. It does not have controls. The framework is controlless. It does map to several control standards. So you can have a NIST 853 implementation. You can have an ISO implementation. You can have these different control catalogs mapped into NIST Cybersecurity Framework, which further helps it be flexible and really applicable in different scenarios and different situations. It's yet another reason why I really enjoy the framework. Sum-Ting Wong, this is the ThreatGEN Red versus Blue cybersecurity simulation platform. You can get more information on it at threatgen.com.
Nice handle there, by the way.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to pass the turn. Jarrett Matthews wants to know if we're using SCADA systems on the valves. Clint, you're the ICS expert. You tell me.
Yeah, it is a SCADA system that is controlling those valves. The SCADA system here. So yeah, if you look at we're using a pipeline company. So the one on the left is a DCS, and the one on the right is a SCADA. So for those of you that understand what I'm saying.
Interesting. Good to know. Even I'm learning something here. I'm definitely getting more ICS savvy.
Yeah, there's a difference between DCS and SCADA. And it's all control systems, but not all control systems are SCADA.
I like it. Okay, so we're still trying to do identify controls and protection controls. I'm going to go ahead and install video surveillance. Well, okay, so video surveillance or electronic locks. Normally I do video surveillance, but today I'm feeling a little froggy and want to go electronic locks, okay? Reason being, it's $3,000 cheaper. It does provide a level of security control at the physical level. And as a CISO, I am trying to be mindful of my budget dollars and how I'm spending them. So for that reason, I'm going to choose, like if I'm doing the risk analysis from a GRC perspective, what does this actually do? This detects people, but they can still walk in, right? I have to have someone manually see it and detect the problem and go investigate. This is a technical control for $3,000 less that should prevent them from being able to access it in the first place, whether or not someone sees them. So to me, there's actually more value in that control. I'm still looking for identify and protect related controls. Create IR procedures. That's actually pretty valuable from a...
Yes, Sum-Ting Wong, this is live. And
yep.
I want to just keep saying your handle name over and over again.
All right, I'm going to say I'm going to do create backup process, and I'm going to do IR procedures. Again, I'm doing policies and procedures basically, which is really a foundational piece of any information security program. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Pass the turn. I will say, me personally, when I go into a new business where I'm going to be accountable for information security, yes, policies and procedures are the first thing that you would do to build the foundation and then build on top of the program. But being real, what I do is I go in and I look at a couple key things. Do we have MFA? What's our email security situation look like? What's our EER situation look like? Those three things, I don't care if we have a policy. I don't care about anything except what is the situation with those three things. They are so important. They provide so much risk reduction that here's the thing. If I'm in charge now, like if I'm the captain, I don't want to go 3 months, 6 months developing policies and procedures and have that exposure during that time. I'd rather button those three things up, and also security awareness, button those three things up, and then start building my program. David E. says, regarding SIM, X risks, as I said on Discord, there's almost surely going to be some data exfil or disruptive malware in between. Not sure.
He's talking about, yeah, there was a lot of Discord discussion about that. It's the AI has some tendencies they're finding out, but that's okay because the AI is being revamped as we speak.
Nice. So Jarrett Matthews is saying, make sure to focus on whaling and spearfishing. Good point. Good point. So, I mean, in alignment with what I just said, I will be doing security awareness training as soon as I get one more human resource back from work, which should be, let's check our action log. Our analyst will be working one more turn, so if we can find something that aligns to our identify and protect for one turn. ICS safe testing, ICS vendor certification. Clint, safe testing is allow you to scan it for vulnerabilities, correct?
Yes, safe testing will allow you to do a vulnerability assessment without affecting the ICS.
Okay, I like it. All right, so I can do ICS safe testing, but that's 2 turns. I'm going to install a SIM. I see Alex and David talking with each other there. I'm going to install the SIM again from an identify. Now, from an identify perspective, this will help, right? We'll be able to begin identifying and seeing bad stuff. That's not really what the identify control function or category is all about. You can see again, here's the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. The identify one, it's partially what's your hardware, what's your software, what's your data, and then who are your personnel, and what does the organization structure look like? So it's people, processes, technology. That's basically the 3 things that fall under identify. So identifying vulnerabilities in your environment, that is not really under identify. That's more under protect, and certainly under detection in some capacity. I think if we looked at the controls underneath, we would see it maps to protect. But we've got our assets, or our analysts, working diligently, so let's pass the turn. Encrypt network traffic. Chad Hunter. Good call. We'll do that. We got our electronic locks, so we're feeling pretty good on that. Baseline security is looking good, right? We've got a perimeter secure, network security, SIMs, very nice, and threat monitoring in place. Very cool. All right, so from an identify and protect perspective, we're looking pretty good. Like I said, I do want to train my staff.
Well, let me just point out one thing that David E. has already pointed out. From an identify perspective, you think you're looking good, but your production level's going down. So there's an indicator that something's going on.
All right, good point. So I do not really have any detect mechanisms in place.
Sorry to spoil that for you, David.
That's okay. So let me. All right. So I've got the SIM in place. So now, as you guys mentioned, the P&L is there. So we need to begin to uplift our detection capabilities. From a defensive perspective, we can install network sensors, log collection and analysis, EDR, ICS security monitoring. Let's install the network sensors so we can, basically start to find where the problem is. Which one of these is? Look at this. Look at me. Using the shortcut keys.
You're growing up. I'm so proud.
I know. Look at me. I'm a power user. All right. Probably need to think about hiring. Well, dude, 45,000 for a staff member. I know 45,000 is underpaid in our industry, but with a budget of 50K, it's hard to just blow it immediately on a new staff member. All right, so we're trying to install network sensors to see if we can't discover why we're losing P&L. See right here, P&L is not looking good. Let's do this. Network sensors everywhere. Okay, and then ICS security monitoring. I don't have enough for that. Okay. Let's do EDR on the engineering workstation, since that's most sensitive. Okay. So these are the 5 categories of the NIST CSF. Even though it's circular like this, it really is start here at identify and move right. Identify and protect are left of bad stuff happening. Detect, respond, recover are right of bad stuff happening, meaning bad stuff's happened. How do you handle it? Identify and protect is nothing bad's happened yet, but it's because you've been doing your job. So we were executing on identify and protect, but as we saw, the P&L is going down, which means we have some type of compromise in our environment. It's more of sand in your shorts at the beach, so it's mildly irritating, but it's not debilitating. We're able to continue doing what we're doing, but we've installed network sensors. We're beginning to look around our environment and hopefully uncover some issues. Jesus. All right, I just got nuked.
Told you there was an indicator.
All right, well, let's take a look. NIST Cybersecurity Framework does not work if you get punched in the mouth immediately. Let me see this.
Spear phishing.
So, interesting. We literally just put EDR on this workstation, okay? So we were doing the right things, just not enough time.
Go up. Was it a spear phishing?
Hold on, I'm looking
Yep.
now. The
Spear
OSINT
phishing.
physical recon spear phishing attack succeeded.
That's the most unlucky thing that can happen in the game, is to immediately get your engineering workstation popped with a spear phishing attack. And just so you know, in an upcoming release, an upcoming update, probably 112, we are implementing a new action that allows you to disconnect all of your ICS devices from the internet without production loss, or at least remove enterprise apps from your ICS assets.
Okay, so literally,
For all you ICS people out there.
Okay, couple things going on here. I love this joke by Nick Barker. Quoting Clint Bodungen. Told you there was an indicator. After I've lost.
No, I told you there was an indicator right before that 2 turns before you got popped.
Okay, so again, Jarrett Matthews, totally appreciate you being a regular on the streams. Twice in a row, getting spearphished to the engineering workstation. So, I've been trying to be cool. I've been trying not to call anyone out. But listen to me. when I'm on red and I get to the engineering workstation and I do attacks 6 turns in a row and it doesn't work, that's interesting. Then I'm on the defensive side and 2 games in a row, engineering workstation spearfished, instant ICS destruction. You know, I feel this is personal, Clint. I feel this is personal. So I don't know if anyone is in chat that's a developer, but I'm just saying things aren't adding up. Things aren't adding up.
Although, all right, so I will tell you, although I did modify your notification there to give you an Easter egg, obviously the code has not been modified to go against you personally. In fact, the system that makes the notifications doesn't have the ability to touch any of the odds of the random rolls, the random number generator, or any of the other powers or anything like that yet.
I know. I'm being playful. I will say, if you look, the AI here got engineering at turn 4, which is like insane. Then they failed at damaging the ICS process, failed again at damaging the ICS process, failed again at damaging the ICS process, succeeded at blowing up the ICS. So, in all fairness, even though I was in a similar situation and unsuccessfully attacked several times in a row and felt victimized and personally called out, the AI equally had the same issue. So, there is some fairness going on here. Now, let's talk for a minute about the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, okay? It did not succeed at protecting this organization right here, but as I've mentioned during the stream, when you get into a new organization, I wanted to follow NIST CSF without any other kind of context or anything, but when you get into a new org, you typically do certain things immediately. Like I said, MFA, security awareness program, get that spun up, network segmentation if you can do it, right? Privileged access management if you can do it. There's certain things that have wicked high value that you can do right away before you even do anything else. But we were trying to follow it, prescriptively. So policies and procedures, identifying assets and stuff like that. So we're trying to follow it. It's not a perfect system, but it is, in my opinion, the best option out there right now as far as flexibility.
Let me echo that. So, Chad, I agree. Chad says that he said it before, trying to implement entire frameworks from scratch on this game is limited. It's too limited in ability to run processes in parallel. I'll agree with you to a point. I'm not just saying this because I'm the lead designer. I'll agree with you and disagree with you. I will agree that the game has limitations. Absolutely. It's not like Jerry said, it's not a perfect system, and the level of fidelity, just in the granularity of with which you can perform actions, pull people off one task to do another. There is some limitations there, but like Jerry said, there's no other system out there that can be used to test the efficacy of systems, and I think it does a relatively good job. Even with the limitations, I think it still gives you at least a good baseline as to whether or not following standards on their own are going to hold up to an actual threat and stuff like that. So I think yes and no when using this to test actual standards. It just depends on your goal.
Mm-hmm. It is fun, and it can be used to educate people. Like if you read a NIST document, that can be some pretty dry stuff. And if you're not I heart NIST all the way, you could have a tough time consuming that. But if you take something like NIST Cybersecurity Framework and you walk through a simulated environment like this and talk about the controls, it has a little bit more context for a student and being able to consume that information and see how it really applies in an environment. So, I definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, you're not going to use this simulation to actually prove out your real world systems in comparison to a standard, but you can absolutely use this to train people on how to build a program to comply with certain standards. In fact, in a couple updates, we already have a GRC system in place. We're just in the process, and you know this, Jerry, we're just in the process of entering in the standards. So basically, when that drops, you'll be able to go through the entire system, the program as the blue team, and as you do things, build your program, implement controls, it will be checking off requirements from different standards that you select. And at the end of the game, you'll be able to see what pieces of that requirement or what requirements of that standard you have checked off. And you can check it as you go through the game. You'll see the things that it's checking off as you do things. So it is a bit of a supplement to Jerry's GRC course.
Very nice. I do enjoy that. If you are interested in the GRC course, whoops. Just knocked out my microphone or my headphones. Very nice.
Cables are a thing, wires, cords, all that stuff. Oh, I hate cables and wires.
Yep. So, all right. Well, hopefully y'all learned. That was a quick one, but red team, I guess real quick, one other thing, crap happens, right? A red team can pop with a little bit of OSINT, right? I know who the engineer is, right? So I can spearfish them. It's not incredibly difficult. You can go to, an ICS security, or not even an ICS security convention. You can just go to an ICS conference. You can, basically break into, maybe some like a Siemens Rockwell or something like that, a Rockwell Automation, get a list of people, endpoints, users. Like there's many different ways to identify the target and then spearfish them, right? So, crap happens. I'm going to call this an advanced persistent threat who had a very highly motivated, highly skilled team that was able to successfully bust us open and blow up our ICS environment. So, Good times. Good times, Clint.
I have a completely side comment. Yes. I had a personal challenge for myself to see how many times I can solve my Rubik's Cube during each one of your turns, and I did it 5 times.
Nice, dude.
So
I didn't realize you had that skill in your arsenal. Very cool.
Oh, there's lots of things I can do you don't know about.
All right, well.
No comment.
I'll add one cool thing a day about Clint. All right, guys, if you did enjoy this, take a minute, give a thumbs up. Genuinely appreciate the support that you guys throw the channel. We do this every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to come back, obviously, if you hit subscribe and bell, it will notify you when we go live at Wednesday at 11:30. If you don't want the notifications, that's totally cool. I don't like the notifications personally. So I put it on my calendar and it shows up. So if that's interesting to you, come join us. We're doing different streams, all using the cybersecurity ThreatGEN Red versus Blue platform in order to educate, have a fun time, and engage with all of you in chat. So thanks for being here today, and we will see you next Wednesday at 11:30. Take care, everybody.